guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Scrap that. Hi guys, good afternoon. Jesus. Hi guys, good afternoon. Good morning. From wherever you are watching from. It's Deborah. And welcome to my YouTube channel. So we are going to be basically talking about the kitchen and talking about hacks, different tips, different recipe, different how to do things in the kitchen. And so we're having another episode today. And so this episode is going to last for a week. So it's going to be 2 parts. We have the part A and then part B, or part 1 and 2, anyhow it goes. So this morning or this afternoon, from wherever you are watching from or wherever time you are presently, so we'll be talking about how to keep our freezer cold several days after power outage. It's no longer news, especially in most part of Africa, Nigeria to be precise. Let me just say Nigeria, we don't have constant electric supply, and so many of us have freezers. And as a woman, you need one. You understand? You need one, and so many of us want to prep. You want to make life easy for you, especially for my working class ladies. You go to work, you want to go to work, but then you don't want to have things in your freezer. You understand me? But then NEPA start doing their own. The electric supply is just so bad. You could not keep your freezer frozen for days. So then I've got some hacks and some tips from my own personal experience, and I feel like I should share with you guys. It's going to be in 2 parts. We'll be having the first part today. So let's dive in without wasting any more of our time. The first tips I'll be giving you is to have a separate freezer for separate thing. It sounds funny, but then it's the first and the most important thing to note when you want to keep your freezer cold. If you know you have people that drink cold water in your house, please get them a fridge, or if you want to get another freezer for them, get them a freezer, or better still, tell them not to pick anything from your freezer. If you want to use your freezer, I'm not talking about you have a freezer for general use in the house, but if you are the type that prep food, you blend pepper, you have things you store in your freezer, and you want it to be cold, and you are living in Nigeria, you're not living in another part of the world where the light supply is constant, then what you need to know, the first thing you need to know is that you have to separate the freezer you want to be using in your kitchen from any other ones. So if you have people that take cold water in your house, just let them know, see, this freezer is not for cold water. It's not to drink cold water. This freezer is for me to keep things, to make it easy for me to work in my kitchen. So that's the first thing. So even without you making sure this is done, every other part of this video is not just going into work. It might not work effectively. Do you understand? Always ensure your freezer's door is closed at all times. You understand me? And that was why I said the first thing is that's just the way you can achieve this. Ensure that you have a separate freezer for separate things. Yes. So if you have a fridge, you understand, probably if you are using a fridge and this standalone fridge, the stand fridge, there's always a compartment for the freezer and there's a compartment for the fridge. And you note one thing, the manufacturer did something there. They did a separate door for the freezer and a separate door for the fridge. So it means that if that is what you have and that's what you are using, you understand me, then you must insist, you must tell your household, tell those that stay in your house, your children, probably you have nieces or whatever, people that are staying in your house, even your husband, that okay, this upper part compartment is for me. Even if I go to go there at all, limit the frequency at which you go there, because by opening the door, going and coming, you understand, you are allowing a warmer temperature into your freezer, and it's going to defrost what is in there. what I'm actually trying to teach you here is to conserve energy freezer would use when there's no light. So that's the second thing. So limit the frequency at which people open your freezer, because what you do when people open your freezer is that they allow warm air to enter your freezer, and before you know it, it will start sending the freezer back to a warmer temperature, and then for you to achieve your goal will be very, very difficult. So note that. So that is number 2. And the third point is make hay while the sun shine. Yeah, I call it make hay while the sun shine, and it means that you should make as much highs. That's the simplest way I can say it. As much highs as possible when there is light, that will sustain your freezer when there is no light. And let me explain for you in this way. Water, especially water, it freezes at 0 degree and it can go as far as -4 degrees Celsius. So now when you have water when you have water in your freezer and it's frozen to -4 degrees Celsius, now every other food in your freezer, once they are frozen, and I want to know something, food freeze at different temperature. But there are some foods that would freeze. There are some things you put in your freezer. I would freeze at 20 degrees Celsius. Yes, like oil. You have some oil that will freeze in your kitchen, in an open air in your kitchen. So it means that food freeze at different temperature. So when you see your pepper that is frozen and you're like, oh, this pepper is frozen, even if they take light, even if it takes light now, it should last me for 2 days. Please don't whine yourself, because that pepper that is frozen might not be up to 0 degrees Celsius. It can actually be frozen at 10 degrees Celsius, which is actually still warmer than water. So what you want to do is that you want to create ice. You want to create ice in your freezer. So you prepare an ice pack. There's something that is called an ice pack, but you're not going to the market to buy ice pack. All you just need to do is to get pure water or bottled water. So depending on your choice, I'm going to give you the 2 options, and you decide which one is preferable for you. So if you have a very constant nice supply, pure water would be the best thing. And the reason is because pure water, due to the sachet water, sachet water rather, it freezes faster than second option, because of it does not have that much of a hard container, you understand. So the temperature enters it the cold temperature enters it more faster, and the water in sachet water freeze faster. Do you understand? So get pure water, get sachet water. Sorry, no, I used to pure water. God should have been so Nigeria. Get sachet water. So sachet water would freeze, and it will go to as far as -4 degrees Celsius. So when there is no light, now even though water gets to -4 degrees Celsius, when there is no light, when it comes back to -3, it's still going to be frozen. At -2, it's still going to be frozen. At -1, it's still going to be frozen. It is when it gets to 0 degrees Celsius that it will start defrosing. And what it will do is that when there is no light, it's not going to serve as the energy that will be pumping that cold temperature into every other thing you have in your freezer. So your pepper that is in your freezer, that is in probably -10, you think it is or let's say minus is it could be actually be at 0, so no minus. It cannot be at 0 degrees Celsius because of the water content in it. So when the water content is frozen, obviously it's certainly going to be at 0 degrees Celsius. So but when you have pure water or anything that is serving as an ice pack in your freezer, so it's going to release the temperature in it into its environment when there is no light. So it's going to serve as what's going to be giving your food stuff temperature, cold temperature when there is no light. So now another thing you can use apart from sachet water is bottled water. Although I usually don't bottled water is good, you understand, please. I usually don't really advise bottled water because one, it takes longer time to freeze take longer time to freeze, but the advantage that is in bottled water is that it also take longer time to defrost. So once your bottled water is frozen and is at -4 degrees Celsius, it's going to keep your freezer for a very long time. But it can go as far as 48 hours without defrosting. Yes, it can go as far as 48 hours without defrosting. But for pure water, sachet water, once leopard takes light, it can last more than 24 hours. It's going to be very, very effective. Like, it's going to help your food stuff. Like, they're going to be very frozen 24 hours. Like I said, that was never like a power outage, but then it can only last for 24 hours. And the messy part of it is that after that 24 hours, the sachet water can start to leak. Because one thing about water is that when it's frozen, water tends to expand, and that leads to tearing of the nylon. And eventually, by the time there's no light, do you understand? By the time there is no light, what happens is that it will start leaking. And once it start leaking, it start releasing water into the environment, and it's still going to affect your stuff, because the water now is going to start making every other things, reducing the temperature of every other thing in your freezer. So that's why I usually don't really though it's very effective. We have a very constant light supply. Sachet water is the best. There's no another thing that does not require space. Therefore, again, remember, prepare an ice pack. Make a while the sun shine. So don't just put your food, your whatever, your veggies in the freezer. Prepare an ice pack. If you want to use bottled water, use bottled water. And just get an empty pot to fill it with water and put it there. And if you want to use sachet water, get few sachet water inside your freezer.